Hello everyone! We're super excited for this course, and hopefully you're watching this video because you know what DevOps is, or you are interested in becoming a Linux sysadmin, or you just want to learn Linux. In order for us to really succeed throughout the course, I want to show you what the course is going to look like for you, where we're going to start and where we're going to end up, so that you have an idea of the path you're going to take, all the things you're going to learn, and why you're going to be able to call yourself a Linux sysadmin or system administrator or a Linux system engineer by the end of this course. So where does it all start? First thing we're going to do is set up your environment. This course is going to work no matter what system you have on your computer. We're going to talk about Linux distributions. We're going to install Ubuntu on a virtual machine so that you're set up for the rest of the course. From there, we dive into the Linux fundamentals. These are just the things you need to know to get us started. We're going to talk about things like terminals, consoles, shells. We're going to talk about the Linux command structure, all the basic building blocks for us to succeed for the rest of the course. Now, starting in this section, we're going to introduce what we call challenges and quizzes for you to actually practice what you learn. This course is very unique in that once you learn a section, we actually have quizzes and challenges for you to do with solutions so that you can actually know that, hey, I didn't just watch a bunch of videos, I actually watched, learned, and then practiced these things, which is, I think, a great way for us to learn and hold on to this knowledge for many years to come. Once we have the fundamentals down, we're going to talk about the Linux file system, which is extremely important. We're going to talk about user account management. We're going to talk about file permissions to make sure that, well, we give the proper access rights on the computer system, one of the most important parts of being a Linux sysadmin. We then get into a really exciting topic of the Linux process management. We're going to talk about this idea of processes and the Linux security model. We're going to talk about signals and killing processes, background processes, and job control. From there, we dive into the exciting topic of networking. We're going to talk about things like getting information about your network, setting up static IP, checking for listening ports, using tools like Netstat, Telnet, Nmap, copying files over the network with things like rsync. We then dive into software management. How do you manage software and different packages on a Linux system? We're going to talk about compiling programs from source code versus package managers, compiling C programs, using APT. Again, if all these things sound intimidating, don't worry. We really teach all of these things from scratch so that it all makes sense to you by the end of it. We then dive into system administration. This is where we talk about things like task automation, scheduling, using cron jobs, getting system hardware information. We then get into bash shell scripting. This is where we learn about running scripts, learning some basic programming so that we can perform different tasks on a computer using the bash shell. Once we've learned all of this, we get into the exciting topic of Docker. This is where we do our first big project, and that is running a containerized application with Docker. We're gonna have an overview of Docker, what it is, why we use it, what are containers, why do we need them, how we push custom images to something like Docker Hub, and how it all fits in with what we've learned up until now. Once we do that, we then talk about Linux security, specifically how to secure and harden a Linux system. So all the best practices and what to do when we have this Linux system that we've put somewhere online where others can have access to it, but we want to make sure that, well, whatever access we give is limited to whatever we want. We have another project coming up after that where we talk about setting up a web and a DNS server. Again, I know we cover a lot, but we have things like how to use the HT access file, how to install and secure a MySQL server. We even talk about things like PHP MyAdmin, installing a web application like WordPress. And as if this wasn't enough, we still have a few more sections. Next one is talking about Ansible. So this is where we start automating Linux administrative tasks with a very useful tool called Ansible. We're going to learn all about it. We then get into a bonus material that I think is super exciting. And this is the IPFS, the Interplanetary File System. Sounds really cool. And well, you have to get to this part of the course to really understand what it is. But trust me on this, I think you're really going to like this section. Finally, our last bonus section, we're going to talk about SSH and public key authentication, something that's really important when we talk about security. And well, we've included here as a bonus for those that want to learn a little bit extra. As you can see, we have a lot in this course. Some would say a little too much, but that's the whole point of being a Linux sysadmin. You have a lot to learn, but once you learn this, a lot of this knowledge is going to transfer over for many years to come. We're going to take you from zero to mastery. Finally, the best part, as with all ZTM courses, is that you're going to get access to our online community. We have people here chatting every day, helping each other out, solving problems together, and talking about the latest and greatest in tech. Andre and myself are on there every day chatting with students so that you feel like you're part of a classroom. All right, as you can see, we have a lot to cover. Let's not delay things anymore. Let's get straight into it. Let's get started, and let's start our DevOps Bootcamp series.